You are ready to release your record. You are going to release on a label. And then there's this new situation. We like to release your record, but we need a remix. How am I going to record my stems so that my live set will still work? Let me show you how I do it, and let's get into that right now. Hey, what's up? It's Analog Kitchen and welcome to another video. If this is your first time here, don't hesitate to click subscribe, hit the notification bell, so whenever I drop a new video online, you won't miss out on anything and you'll help grow the channel. The record label said like, this is actually what we want to release. Cool track. We need some remixes though. Now, usually if you record something, you'll probably stick it onto a 2-track, right? It's just a stereo file and the label requires a remix outtake pack of samples you have used in your production and they need to go to another producer who is going to make a remix out of it. You have to record something in some sort of a multi-track fashion. What is the coolest thing to do in that sense? If I'm working a 303 acid line or I'm really just building up a break or something and I need that to also go into my final production. You still have to record everything in one go. If somebody asks me for remix packs, then I have to go back and just separately record all the different tracks that I have. That's just headache. I really don't want to be going up in that direction, you know what I mean? Is there a cheap, efficient way of getting stems out of my live set without taking away from the production that I'm doing? Or maybe I'm the luckiest guy in the universe and the record company says, go to an expensive studio with an engineer. More high, please. Turn it, what? Up, what? Turn it up. The coolest thing would be for you to have access to the different tracks that you have actually recorded. Your bass drum is separate from the bass line, your drums are separate from maybe the effects that you're using, so that if somebody needs to do a remix for your record, they actually have access to all the different parts and can make a cooler remix out of your track. Now, when it comes to audio interfaces, I can just go on, and this video would probably last you until 2021. I will only name a few of the options that I do think you might consider. And if you use anything else, please let me know what your preferred way of working is, because I'm very keen to find out all about that. The myriad of sound cards. There is the Zoom R8 or R16. You've got the Soundcross Signature MTK series. And if you really got some money to burn, you might consider the RME Fireface to be an option working for you. And the RME Fireface has got 18 inputs and outputs that you can all use simultaneously. The Zoom Live Track series will go up from a Zoom L8 to a L12 to a L20, respectively having 8 or 12 or 20 channels. Now in my case, you always see me standing in front of this big mixer over here. That's the Audient ASP AT24 that I usually use to really mix out my records if I want to stem everything out. That means that every separate track that I use on my live set is going to a separate channel. But of course, for mixing and mastering purposes, as well as recording and just general music production purposes, that's a desk that comes in handy. A big board like that will give me a lot of advantages, but then I can really like get to the nitty-gritty of how the sound in the mix is going to be. I'm probably not gonna take that with me when I'm doing a live set somewhere in a club. I'm trying to keep things as simple as possible when it comes to my live set. Of course, if you work in the DAW-less realm, you will prefer to work without using a computer. I have to say though, 2020, you will have to go into a computer at some point if you want to just send out your music. Now, why did I choose to go with stems instead of tracks? It depends. Now, if you are an experienced live set producer or musician in general, you already know how to figure out your sound. You know exactly what it is that you want, probably know how your boxes sound, what the characteristics of your drum computers or even your synthesizers are. And that's cool. But if you're still figuring that stuff out, mixing in stems might actually help you to grasp what the whole mixing thing is all about. There's another video that I've done on how to create your sound without using EQ or compression. There is a learning curve in that sense in how to actually train your ears and your brain to trust the stuff that you are hearing. When my mind is in a different place, tired, or I'm happy or whatever, it will influence the way I look at sound. One mix one day is not going to be the same mix the next day. One of the advantages of using stems is that it really frees up a lot of channels. If you are in a club and you need to sound check and there's 16 or maybe maybe 24 tracks that you all have to mix, and you cannot be in full and total control of your sound if you don't know what you're doing. With stems, it's easy. The way I set it up is that I use a DJ mixer usually, and I always stem that out the same way. I opt to have my bass drum separate. That goes on one channel. Then the output of the MPC will go on a stereo channel. The output of the octo track will go on another stereo channel. So far I've got 3 stems. But then I can all sum it together, so it's basically packages of sound. MPC, octo track, 909, bass drum. So if I work something else into my live set, it's easy to adapt and it's easy to add stuff to it. Building up my live set, a lot of pieces of equipment didn't really make the cut. It changed my sound continuously. New drum computer, new sound. New synthesizer, new sound. It really did my head in. And I want to become consistent in the way I sound. If I'm doing an album and I'm changing gear, I really would love my sound to be a specific thing so that it really sounds great and I don't have to go in and mix a lot of stuff. When I'm producing a remix pack, I would like to keep my stems as close to the original track as possible. The more I will split up my record, the more I will get into trouble. I do want to keep everything as close to my initial recording as possible. This, to me, is mandatory because the remix is already going to be a different version of the stuff that I intended when I played it out live. So my solution? The Zoom L12 live track. It's not the cheapest in the world, but it will do all the multi-track stuff that I want and I can stem stuff out. It's also got effects on board. There's compression on each of the channels and it can record straight onto an SD card. Now that's what I like. All the Zoom recorders can do that basically. This one can also act as a sound card and it can also stream your audio into the computer straight from the USB port that it comes with. It uses 3 different bandwidths, which is 44.1, 48 and 69 kilohertz. So that's also an advantage if you want to just go up a little bit higher in terms of bitrate. Best thing of all, it's portable. And that concludes our broadcast day. Thank you for checking out this video. Don't hesitate to click subscribe, hit the notification bell, so whenever I drop a new video online, you'll be the first to find out all about it and you help me grow the channel. I will see you in another video. Peace.